Hey guys, it's LeonMarvel here, and we're gonna cut straight to it. We're gonna talk about some hero arts and what we think should be the best changes going forward, and ones that are really weak. So getting right into it, I really wanted to make this video uh, just because I think right now the meta is looking good, but there's some adjustments we can make. Let's start with Ryu. As far as the meta, he's looking great, man. Shinko Hadouken is great. It's a good cost. It's a solid 7 damage. 7 damage is nothing to shy about, especially when you stockpile Shinko Hadouken. It's pretty good. Dungeon Ranky's awesome. I don't think it needs too much of a change. I think they made a really good adjustment to it by taking the field effect off, so no changes there. I would say Metsu Shoryuken's in a good place because it's cheap. It's one of his cheapest hero arts, so that to me, I think Ryu is a real good benchmark for the rest of the hero arts we'll be going through, because he's just solid all around. I mean, he's where he needs to be at. I would want maybe something on this Metsu Shoryuken, maybe I don't know, +2 HP, something like that. Something to make it survive a little bit more. But then again, maybe not, because you just should not put that on a unit that's going to die, right? So there you go. Moving on, we've got Raffles. Give all units +2 attack. This needs an update because it needs to be like maybe his cheapest hero art, maybe like a 12. Because a lot of units basically already have this kinda, so it's nothing special. I think a hero art should be something absolutely special. Even though that's nice that you give everybody 2 attack, I mean, that's not really amazing. Maybe a +2/+2 for one unit, or something like that. I don't know. I think all units maybe, I don't know. It needs something else. It needs something. I'm not sure what it could be. Maybe Crush. Maybe you could do +1 attack and Crush. That wouldn't be too bad. I love the special abilities on top of a boost, and I think just a boost of attack and that's it is pretty lame. So if I had to tweak it, I would say we have to give it an effect, some kind of effect ability. Maybe not Crush, but something, right? But I feel Crush would be pretty cool. Then we got Wrath Awoken, which has been neutered. Maybe maximum value should be a little higher, to make it a little bit more value, and then make this a 20 instead of a 22. Maybe like a 5 value limit and then a 20. That would be fair, right? And then Blazing Wall's great. I think that's pretty good. Once in a unit, 2 HP and shield. Maybe make it 3 HP. Just slight buff, and then that would be great in shield, right? But then we've got Mega Man here, which now we need to overhaul a few things. Now Heart Tank's awesome. 7 HP is the counter to Ryu's Shinko Hadouken, so that's fair. Now let's look at the cost. That's 20 for 18. I feel like that's okay, right? Because it doesn't really bother Ryu to just throw Hadoukens around. But Heart Tank, you can just really wait out exchanges, and then that HP goes away. So I would say that this is his best hero art, to be honest with you, and it's really should not be changed. It's a pretty good staple. I would say leave it alone. Charge Shot. Now here we go. Now Charge Shot, I feel, is in a really good place. I feel like it should be a 20. Maybe just a small tweak to the AP. Those tweaks make a big difference. That can close out a game or not. So I feel when HP is boosted, game 1 attack, that's fine. I feel like that's fair, because there's a lot of Resonate cards still out there that can abuse this a lot. So let's just keep that where it is. Now here's where we need to get into the weeds about Veil. So Veil's awesome. Veil basically prevents people from being targeted. So it's not as powerful as it used to be, because now there's a lot of cards that splash or target the field. So it's not all encompassing like how it was. It was not all powerful, and when you get it, you get it. So I think the AP cost needs to come down a bit, maybe to 17 or 18, something like that. And then not only that, I believe you should give it something like a 1/1, or maybe So here's what I think should probably happen. Here's a good discussion, right? And let me go back, right? So we're gonna create this deck, and I just want to pull up. This is a great segment for black, right? So what made black so crazy, right? And I actually can go to one of my decks. So here we have our good old big body Wesker deck, right? So what makes this deck somewhat overpowered is this guy. So what's so bad about him, right? So think about it. He's 6 cost. Normally this would suck, right? Because, you know, he's a 2/5, then you transform into Super Tyrant, then you got to deal with that. So what is the mind frame of people when you play this card? He's slow. Slow is actually pretty OG. Like, it's pretty legit to slow down a unit. Because if you think about it, a lot of what you're doing in this game is countering first. Right? Because you're trying to counter this ability, at least I usually do, so that you can either get off your effect. I mean, we got a new change, name change to what's that effect? The one where you victory, that's changed. So a lot, like even my deck where I have Hodor right now, that's a victory effect of a 3/5, right? So most of what you want to do is try to do a surprise attack, and most of winning TEPPEN is surprise attacks, to be honest with you. Catch an opponent off guard, making good plays. So I'll say all that to say, you can actually build up MP back with a slow unit. So that's actually pretty powerful, you know? It really is. So what my suggestion would be to make Gaia armor slow, veil, and 1/1. So it's not an overpower buff. +1/+1 gives you more attack, a little teeny bit more HP to maybe, you know, do your thing. And slow, and it would make sense because look at him. He's wearing a big heavy armor. Maybe +1/+2 would be more fair. A little bit more health, a little bit more attack, and you can attack it. So basically, you kind of shield for a splash attack, or because most of those cards that attack the field are going to be splash attacks, right? Most of them that are used. Mjolnir, the other lightning ability. So basically, you're protecting a unit, you're giving it time to survive an exchange, and also forcing the opponent's hand to deal out some damage immediately, and it gives you time to heal those units back up. And it's a little bit of a kind of like, okay, a counter. Now, most of these decks will have to do anti-air, because that what was so scary about Huitsu back in the day was that he basically wasn't that powerful until you buffed him up and he was anti-air. So he was basically a tank. And that really should be all green Mega Man decks should be kind of tanky. You know, it's kind of like, you know, you want units to run into you. So, especially now with stealth being neutered, you definitely would see some green comeback with it being a more defensive color. And that's what I would want, to be honest with you, with Mega Man to be a more defensive type of color. And then you have one offense would be Charge Shot. But everything else, these two should be total defense. But with a Gaia armor, I mean, it's armor, so it needs to be something, right? Or at least shield, right? It could have shield as well. That would be great. But yeah. Other than that, it sucks right now. Kokosho, I feel should be surprisingly cheaper. I really do feel like Kokosho should be cheaper. A 12 cost. Did we go with 12? Did someone have 12? Yeah. Metsu. It's the same thing, right? You get an effect. You know, it's a little expensive because of all units, but to be honest with you, shield is okay. You know, there's ways around it now, and you know, you don't see much Kokosho play. I think that it needs a little something, maybe a little HP boost. Like I said, something that does just a one and done in my book for hero art is kind of lame. So in this game where it is now, it's the same as Yu-Gi-Oh, right? When Yu-Gi-Oh first came out, we had cards that were very that seemed overpowered at the time, but if you look at it now, they're like normal cards, man. If you look at the conditions for Yu-Gi-Oh now, with those synchro decks and all that other crap they got going on, it's crazy. There's no way a normal card would survive. You sit down and put something down. Like, that's how it is now with TEPPEN. Like, you put a normal card down, and we'll get to that, it gets destroyed immediately. And that's how you know you're playing a bot. Anyway, so we got, see, this is a perfect example of a balance. Because you get +1 and heavy pierce. This is an awesome ability, and I think the cost is awesome as well. It is great. It needs no changes. I feel like it's very fair. Because you can deal with it, and you know you got a deck built around that. You kind of know that you're swinging for the fences, and that very much represents Chun-Li, and this hero art. Yeon. How do I feel about Yeon? I feel that Yeon just doesn't have cards to play with to you know, manipulate it. So it really is good where it is. I maybe come down a little bit with the AP cost, because to be honest with you, Yeon is powerful. I always want to say leave it where it is. 20 is fair. I feel 20 for 4 MP is completely fair. And yeah, that's fine. I think we should leave it where it is, because Yeon was just, oh my god, a terror. It was really the cards and Yeon that made Yeon Lee so terrifying, and I think it's in a good place. Rest in peace, Yeon Lee. And stay exactly where you are. So we have Temptation. Hold for 13 seconds. That's fair. I would almost feel like it should be AP 20, but halting units, to be honest with you, is one of the most powerful abilities in the game. The fact that you can just completely stop a unit, and you can do whatever you want to that unit with no damage at all done to your unit, is very powerful. So it just hasn't have cards, just like Yeon. It hasn't have a card to really support this yet, but it's coming. It is definitely coming, and I see purple rising up next meta. That's just me personally, because they are really working at trying to make purple something, you know. Destroy all units inflicted with halt is a very powerful ability, and I feel like that should also stay exactly where it is. Maybe, yeah, that should stay where it is. I don't think it's any problem there. Again, it needs cards to support this. The problem with halt cards are that they suck, because that's usually all they do is just halt the unit in front, and they have terrible stats. So yeah, halt isn't that great when it comes to units, but as a ability, it's awesome. So this should stay exactly where it is, because it can be terrifying if it's out of control. Shadow Blade, I think maybe boost it up to 3 life, you know, and maybe 5 damage to one enemy, and then 7 if it has flight. It's a slight boost up, because it should be like Ryu. Maybe keep the life the same. I don't know. I feel like the life should come up just a tad, you know, because it's kind of useless. I mean, 2 life is nothing, to be honest with you. It did get heavily nerfed, because it was a huge problem before as it was. So I feel like it should be tweaked a little bit more. Now we're getting to our best friend Dante. Dante. Slow, like I said, is it's a pretty pathetic ability by itself. So again, this is giving an enemy slow, and the unit cannot counter. So the problem with this is that, so what, right? Can't counter, so what? That unit's gone, and then there's an empty field. You just drop another unit, right? So who cares about that? How we can fix this would be maybe give any unit slow, because Quicksilver should be for either Dante or the unit, right? So how about you give yourself slow, so that you can give yourself your unit time to breathe. You know, you could play other purple cards now, like Slurple, that would allow you to, you know, unlock that card and move it quick, or, you know, whatever Slurple does, you know, for slow. It just needs a little bit of a buff with that, and you to be able to use it on any unit you want. And then have another ability tied to it as well. I think unit cannot counter is okay. But what's interesting is that Nero got a change just recently to his cards. So I believe one of them says damage taken +3 for 13 seconds. How about we give it that? Something like that would be amazing, right? So that way he's neutralizing that unit completely. You know? Maybe. I don't know. It needs something else. I would say this is definitely a card that needs a hero art that needs some work. But it would be nice to have that ability to put on anything. Your units, their units, anything. Because slow is actually, like I said, pretty legit. It's actually pretty legit. Maybe if you put it on yourself, or maybe you can give yourself rush. Maybe if you put it on an enemy, you give it slow and can't counter. If you give it to yourself, you give yourself rush and +1/+1 or something like that. I don't know. Something. It needs something. Rush and crush. Rush crush. Something. But we got the Ebony and Ivory here. Resonate. I feel like Resonate. Its time is done. To be honest with you, double Resonate is just trouble, man. It really is. I feel like it should be completely overhauled, to be honest with you, and probably made similar to Nero. Maybe you could give a random effect to one of your units. You can give like Crush or Rush or something like that, and then give it oh, you know what? Like I was saying before, maybe you can give the ability to normal cards only. So how about we fix the normal cards, right? Because the normal cards are completely crappy. They don't do anything. But what if you could build normal decks with Ebony and Ivory and just make them awesome? Just give a random effect to any normal card. But also give it the ability, if it's not a normal card, then just the +1/+1. Give any card +1/+1, and if that card is a normal card, if that card has no effects, give one of 3 effects, and that would be awesome. That would be pretty good. And then this would be cost 20 for that, or maybe cheaper. Maybe the effects aren't that bad. You can make it a 14 or something like that. What is Chun-Li's? Chun-Li's is 13. Yeah, maybe the 14 or 15 would be fit. I would say 15. Devil Trigger's fine where it is. I think it has its place in niche decks, and that is great because you can basically stall, give yourself time, things like that. I feel like it has its place, and it will continue to be used for split decks. Just because of the stall factor, and I think that's cool. You get a lot of creativity out of that ability. Wesker's Dark Destruction is great, no changes. Ouroboros is great, no changes. I feel like it's perfect where it is. Bringer of Nightmares, I actually appreciate the update, but I feel like it needs a slight nerf. I feel like an AP needs to go up a little bit. It needs to go up to a 15 or 14 or something like that. It needs to be slightly harder to just get this revenge unit, or just remove the MP adjustment, because you're already getting an MP adjustment from revenge cards anyways. So for most of the cards, you just get it just doesn't even count, because it's already 1 or 2. So I mean, most of the time, Bringer of Nightmares is sitting on MP. Like literally, I've seen them use the hero art, and then when I try to use a card just to see how much MP they have, they're full. They're just sitting, because everything in their hand is 1 MP. So it's a little broken. Maybe not broken in a good way or a bad way, but just broken like it needs to be balanced, because you shouldn't be sitting on MP. You should be contemplating your next resource move, right? Spike Dive Bomb. Did I get over? Yeah, I got everything. Spike Dive Bomb is great. I think it has its place where it needs to be. Strength and 1 attack is great. Spike launch. I feel like how do I feel? How do I feel about spike launch? Deal damage equal to the amount of life sacrifice split, and then the maximum is 12. I think that's fine, to be honest with you. Spike launch is cool. Maybe, no, I think it's fine, to be honest with you, because 12 split it can be so weak though, right? Sometimes. And other times it could be awesome. Maybe raise the maximum damage to 20. Yeah, I think that would be cool. Raise the maximum damage to 20. Because having more resources of it, like lowering the AP, is not a good deal. Because then you can just keep splashing and it gets ridiculous. But the fact you're sacrificing that much life to deal that much damage, you maybe raise the cap, because late game, that's where this is supposed to shine. Not early game. I don't know. It's a hard sell. Maybe not 20. Maybe 15. It just should be able to do 5 damage a piece per person, which is that's on good RNG. You know, that's what I'm thinking. So yeah, I would say raise it to 20. I would, and just see what happens, right? See if it breaks things, and then put it back. See, the problem with the updates with TEPPEN, I won't rant too much, is that they don't update or nerf or adjust enough, you know? They need to do it not scheduled sometimes. Sometimes we're going to change this for a week. We're going to make an adjustment for a week and see how it is. And y'all let us know. Just do that. Just make it buff nerf week. And for a week, we want to make a big change across the board for cards, for hero arts, and you know, we'll focus on one at a time. We'll do hero arts 1 week, do cards 1 week, and let's see what breaks and what works, right? And then we'll revert it, and then we'll do like a poll. What changed, what keeps, you know, work with your community. All right, but I'll leave it at that. Change form. I think it is awesome where it is. It is very powerful. Very powerful. That needs to stay exactly where it is. Definitely late game ability. Rocket launch is cool. I think it should stay where it is. Genesis. Genesis is good where it is. It's very scary. So they just need to continue to monitor what they put out for Explorer, because this can get out of hand really quick. It can get really out of hand. So yeah, it's good. I like it. Antibody. People complain about this a lot. And it's really not too bad. I mean, the problem is it's very easy to get nowadays. Like before, Explorer was little harder to get, little bit harder to get, but now, piece of freaking cake. You can get Explorer with actions now. So that's the problem. I think the shield part is the problem, right? Because the shield is just, it negates anything, and then you get 1/3. So other than black, every other color has a problem with that. You know, purple can bounce, but their bounce ability has been neutered a lot over the expansion. So red, once you get some good red cards and can make a deck, you can easily make an Explorer deck and just abuse the hell out of this, like you can. And because it's AP 15, and maybe that's the problem. Maybe it needs to be AP 20. Does she have an AP at 20? No, she doesn't. So it almost needs to be like I mean, you get so much benefit for just 15 AP. I mean, Shinko Hadouken's 20. I mean, 12 for Metsu, and he only has 1. I feel like it should be a little higher. At most 20. You know, 17 maybe. 17 would be fair. AP 17. Maybe raise the Explore count. Nah, that would be unfair. That would be totally unfair, right? Make it a 4 higher. Even that sounds a little unfair. What could we do? Take the shield away. Leave it 1/3. Take the shield away. But that neuters the whole kind of antibody kind of theme, right? Maybe 1/2. Maybe 1/2. I would say ultimately, we're going to raise the cost to 17 and see how it goes. That's what I would do. Because the thing about it is it really depends on the cards that are, I mean, if it didn't have the cards to support it, it is very hard to get that Explorer count. Definitely hard. And then you're at that point behind, you know. Like I said, the issue now is that we have plenty of options for Explorer. So that's why it's overpowered right now. The cards that support that are amazing. And they continue to support the Explorer, whereas somewhere like Dante and Resonate gets no support per expansion. So that's the problem, right? If there were other colors that had their support as well per expansion, red this would not be as overpowered as people are saying it is. So, but 17, raising it to a 17 would be reasonable. I would say let's do that and see what happens. Devil Breaker, I feel, should be a little cheaper. To be honest with you, it should be a 12 because it's and maybe lower the attack by 2 because it's only a one and done. Maybe just keep it 3 attack shoot. I mean, it can be very overpowered, but you have to kind of you have to really set it up, right? You have to have something that can splash middle lanes, that something that that has combo in the middle lane, I meant to say. And then, it's very telegraphed. That's the problem with Devil Breaker. It's very telegraphed. People will see it coming. You just know that you can be ready for it. Whereas the other hero arts, you don't know so much. So maybe just make it cheaper. So that cheaper and maybe dial the attack to a 2 would be better. So that way it's used more often, and then you're incentivized for that. As you can see, look, it's a combo. You get an attack and an ability. So that's what other hero arts need. This is great. I don't think it needs any adjustment. Maybe a little more expensive, maybe a 14. But I'd say no, because having that resource is useful because a lot of the growth units are not that strong, except for now. Now they're very strong. But even still, you can kind of deal with that by sealing them, and it's also all things you can do to get rid of those growth units when because again, it's very telegraphed. You know what's happening. You know what they're trying to do. I think the units need to be adjusted more so than true power itself, because it's not too bad. Hey Nico, how do I like all the changes? I think every change is great. This is good. That's good. The Tomboy is great. I think it's all good, right? I think the only thing would be to probably adjust Tomboy's RNG to never do 0-10 or 10-0. At least have like 2 points of HP or 2 points of attack would be fair, or at least 1 point of attack. That would be cool, because then you're not getting a totally useless unit, because it sucks when you're trying to survive and you put it on something and it gets all attack and it's already got like 1 HP. So it's like, I mean, that's RNG. It is what it is. I guess you can't control that. So that's just my personal gripe, that I hate getting in that situation with that card. Because I'm not a fan of cards that you have to place it down to get the ability. You should be able to use that ability right away instead of spending more resources to use it. Except for Mega Man, because it's so overpowered, right? But Ragtime is so random in every aspect, unlike Zero, because you kind of know the odds are a lot better of what you'll get, and whatever you get is awesome in either aspect. So it just has better odds, right? So that's Nero. Raging Demon. Now here we go. How do we deal with this? The problem with Raging Demon is not the art itself. 23 for Raging Demon is fine. We're comparing that to Dark Destruction. It's a little more expensive. I would say that adjustment is a little neutered. To be honest with you, it could probably stay where it is, but it's only attacking the unit in front of it. The problem with Raging Demon is 100% the units. Because if you just had straight up it destroy something in front of it, it should almost be equal to Wesker, to be honest with you. But you are getting value because you're destroying any unit in front of it. So yeah, that is very powerful in itself, and you get to keep the unit in front, and you get to use the Ascension ability. So that just lets you know it is 100% based off of the unit. So what can we do to fix that? You fix the units. Every unit that uses the Ascend ability should have an HP cost. It should. It should be like a penalty for you putting that unit on the field, because you know you're going to ascend it. If you ascend over top of it, it should still have a penalty. But maybe add one legendary card that will give you HP back as well, and an ability. So make it legendary, definitely, so it's not abused. But every card should be HP cost, definitely. Because it's going to make Akuma think twice about, hey, maybe do I drop a unit in this field to do that? Or do I actually use units for what they are, and my destroy abilities, save destruction for later? That's like this should be a last resort. Because Akuma, when you play the game, he needs all of his bars to do it. All of them. It's a final art. The way Akuma's usually has that Raging Demon every second of the game, it seems, It's crazy. For 23 AP, he really blows through it because the deck is filled with Ascension units. So he can always use his hero art. But when that's really not supposed to be the case. It's supposed to be that you treasure those Ascendant units and use them against cards that are just way too powerful for him to handle. So he has to use his trump card, which costs a little bit of life. So that's how it's supposed to be used. And that really should be the game, because with Selfish Predation out there, you can just, get that health back. So that should be the game, baiting out that Selfish Pred and making Akuma pay for paying all that cost to put a unit down. So yeah, it should be really kind of a play on how should I balance my life gain or loss. And then you'll have other units on the field that you can ascend on top of to gain life, or lose life to ascend over, and that's how you play that game. Kikia Kuretsuku. Sekia Kuretsuha. Destroy units with 4 or less HP. The way to fix this would be all enemy units for 5 or less HP. Why would Akuma ever destroy himself? Unless you're going to add some cards that transform, like we had, and then that wouldn't be so bad, because you're transforming some cards into something else, right? And those cards should probably not attack. This unit cannot attack, and basically it just sits there with 4 HP. That would be awesome. And then you just use this ability to transform, like and you destroy units on the field. So that would be pretty awesome, to be honest with you. And it'd be a way to balance your number game, because most people don't want to sit there and count. This is an action game, right? So that's the problem with this unit. You're sitting here trying to count, and who has time for that? Ashura Senku is fine. I feel like it should say exactly where it is. Let's see. So we got Fight Against Inner Demons. I feel is the only adjustment we need to do. 2/4 is good. That's fine. I think it needs to be an MP cost of 5. I do. I don't think you need to destroy 6 cost cards. At the time of this card dropping, it was a hard counter to a lot of the 6 cost cards that were very dangerous that were out there. But we've moved past that now, so we can dial that down a little bit. We can do a 5 and be okay. Rekoha got a nerf prior, and it needs to, nerf prior, and it needs to have a slight buff again. Maybe to change some of the damage values here. I would say probably change the memory value, to be honest with you, because the AP cost isn't too bad where it is. I think it should stay where it is, but maybe change these conditions so that you can actually use Rekoha now, because you really can't right as it is right now, because memory cost is no one's playing this ability anymore. Tenkuha is awesome. Again, it's a more powerful version of Ryu, but you get it from 1 attack. So I think it's cool. I think you could probably keep this as it is. I tend to feel like it should be a little cheaper, but this could be very overpowered in some decks. So We'll leave it as it is. Shield Spire, it's cheap, to be honest with you, but 3, maybe, I don't know. I feel like it's a little, it needs to be a little more HP, like 5 HP. Because damage taken to 3 or less, this is really only good in the beginning game. Because at late game, you're going to have your cards that take more than 3 attack damage. Maybe 4. Maybe 4. Something. You know, it needs to really feel like a shield, right? It needs a little buff. I'm not sure. In either one of these categories, bump the number up 1. Not all categories, just 1. It could be either 1 HP, or it could either be reduced damage to 3. You know, that's taken for 2, 3, or you can reduce the cost down by 1. I'm not really a fan of reducing that AP cost any more than what it is. I feel like the AP cost is good where it is. Choral Orchestra, I would say -2 MP would be better. Because tribes aren't really where they at right now. Humans have gotten to a point where it is where it is. But I think they might be abandoning that idea of tribes. It would be nice if they keep it up, but it's the problem with TEPPEN updates is that they don't release enough cards. Hopefully with supplemental cards, we can do that now to add more cards to the season, which is very wanted. And it's monetized, so it was in their best interest to do that. So yeah, I think if they really truly did support tribes a lot more, like really overhaul a lot more cards and add tribe effects to it as a condition, then it would really incentivize using this core orchestra a lot more. Otherwise, the problem is cards. You just don't have cards that really have that synergy yet. Because now, especially, they're being cycled out. So even more so, we just need to get this to a place where it's used a lot more. And so I would say -2 MP would be a little better. Still 1 random card added to the EX pocket. This is fine. Again, it's based off of the cards. This is just really bad because you really get stuck with a card that you don't need. So maybe have the ability remove 1 card from your EX pocket and steal 1 random card. How about that? Because not only are you dropping a card from your EX pocket, if it's 1 in there, then you will steal a card. So basically what you would do is if you get a busted card, you just play this hero art and you drop a random card that didn't fit and you steal another one. So that way you are milling the deck and also clearing your EX pocket. I think that's fair. I think that's a great change. What do you guys think? That's good. That's a good one. I actually came up with a good one. Divine Intervention is awesome. Does not need a change. Thunder Edge, again, as you can see, +1 attack and agility. You get something and not just agility. 16 is fair. That's good. This has become quite the terror. All cards in your deck just get powerful. I mean, can we do this for Dante, maybe? Can we give, I don't know, all cards in your deck get something, right? Something. This is a great ability once it snowballs, because you get some really powerful cards late game with some powerful attack, and then it really focuses on your deck instead of just relying on the hero art itself per se. You know, it is relying on the hero art, but in an off-handed way. So basically, you're really building a deck that can, in the end of the game, crush the opponent because it's so powerful. And then when you do get this going, it is the bomb. I'm not gonna lie to you. Dancing Dead, I guess it's fine. They just need more units that can go to the graveyard and replicate themselves. Would be a benefit for this. We just need like one or 2 cards per season that can do this. We had one, but it was not. It was the G. The G would be great for this, you know. Because then, but the cost is expensive. Good lord. I mean, it's 23, right? So I feel like that should be dialed to a 20, and that will be definitely more useful. Because the funny thing is, you can use this against Todayashi. You can use this against cards that you can't even target. You're not supposed to target, which is very useful, right? DWP. This is a very good card, good ability, one of the staple abilities of Oichi, and I think that it got nerfed a little too hard. I feel like placing 3 units is great, but regular old, units, the 4 costs need a little bit of a buff. I would say it's hard. It's hard to tell. Maybe dial that AP cost down just a little bit to like a 25. I feel like 25 would be fine. Because if they're going to be regular old 4 cost units, it just need to be dialed down a little bit. Because the 4 cost units that come on the field, they suck. I'm not going to lie to you. And I have no problem dealing with them with whatever units I have on the field. Currently, this is not a threat anymore. I think we just need more cards with death abilities. Plain and simple. Otherwise, that art is great. Blackout is great. Blackout is very good. They need more card support for that. And it's just where it needs to be honest with you. That buff that they got, it puts it where it should have been on release. Mirage Decoy. I feel that Mirage Decoy, to be honest with you, it needs to be plus lock +3. So that way you're getting some more units to get off the field. Because the problem with Mirage Decoy is that those units are not removed from play. They're put back into the deck. And late game, this is not great. Because they're not getting rid of the cards. They're just resetting them. So it's not good. It's not good. Now, what it should do, in my opinion, would be to send them to the EX pocket. Why do I say that? Because one of those cards will go to the graveyard if you get rid of all 3. So that would be a little bit more useful, and then lock +3 will be better, because that way you can get rid of a higher level card, and then hopefully that will be the one that goes to the graveyard. So I think that would be a little bit more useful, just my opinion. Because as of right now, where it stands, you really have to have a completely clear board to get rid of anything of worth. And if you do, it doesn't matter to go back to the deck. And guess what I do? I just place a rush card right on the field. Who cares, right? Breakaway is cool. You just got to have more cards to support it. I feel that you can really get a good cycle going. But the problem with Breakaway is there's not a lot of when played abilities that work with this card. So, you place a card that's going to halt somebody in front of it. No, that sucks. You need more cards to support this. That's all. And that's it, guys. That's the whole thing. What do you guys think? It's a long video, longer than I thought. I thought I could really churn through it. But yeah, just let me know what you think in the comments, your suggestions for the changes, and I will talk to you guys later in the next one. Love you. Peace.